All right, let's start building the scene. But first, I want to quickly recap the shots I have in mind, or the environment that I have in mind. So I want to create a shot that will be about the canals. So I will pick a frame that will have like mostly canals in it, and I want the canals to be like a bit bendy, like so or like so, and then they will be going into the distance, and then there will be our character in the first going into the distance, right? And then maybe there will be like some overhanging bridges, and then maybe like this one will be open like so. So there will be canal going over there, and maybe this piece will be like standing alone. And then there will be base. The factory in the distance, but I will want for this factory to be covered in fog. But for now, I'm starting with my default lighting setup, and then the other shot will be continuation of this one. So there will be more rhythms going in, and then there will be character, and then there will be a piece with a ladder and a ledge. Walkway that will connect this shot to the factory shot. So this one is like in between shot, but because I will prepare like a bunch of assets, I will just have to move the camera around and the character around, and maybe I'll just have to model the ladder, right? And the other shot will be with lower horizon line, with our dude somewhere in here, and there will be like a factory that's like covering, that's filling the frame, and part of it I will want for it to be calm, and other parts I will want to be gribbly. So maybe there will be a huge chimney. I mean, there will be a huge chimney because I have a perfect scan. And then there will be some gribbly stuff and some towers that will like add silhouette. But let's start with the first shot. So this shot, the first one, it will only have to like create, I would say, not counting the characters, like just like a handful of assets. So let's jump into Blender. What I will start doing first is I won't jump straight away into modeling. First, I want to figure out the layout, because I want to build a sense of scale and distance between my character. So this will act as my like character dude, for example, right? And I want to start placing some objects. So I would say my factory will be somewhere in the distance, because I want to add more depth. And what I always want to do is I want to try and avoid faking distance, because I had my screencast keys turned off. So I was saying, I'll always try to avoid faking depth and faking scale, meaning I want for this factory to feel huge, right? And this dude is this huge. So I think that will be enough for now. So I'm just placing a block, and then I will want to move forward and start placing additional blocks, because the more elements I will start adding, the more blocks I will start adding, it will create a better sense of space, which means it will be easier for me to make decisions, right? So now I want to figure out what's in between my dude. Maybe he's further away. My dude and the factory. So I was thinking about canals, and I want them to be a bit curvy. So So what I will do, I've just moved the, I don't know if it was there or not, but whenever I'm like editing the mesh, I will always like set origin to center of mass. And now I will add a modifier called simple deform, and I will be using this modifier a lot. So it acts weird. Oh, I haven't subdivided the mesh. So I'll either go into hardops, use mesh tools and dice, or just like subdivide it like so a couple of times, right? Then shade it smooth and sharpen with hardops. So it's a low poly object. The faces look a bit too 3D, so let's just shade it smooth and use sharpen. So what bend allows me to do is, as you see, bend the object, right? So let's make it this big for now. Maybe 45 degrees. let's start placing the objects. So maybe one goes in here, the other one goes over there. Maybe there's like a bunch of them going over here. Grab this one. Oh, and by the way, I'm duplicating the objects. Yeah, I should have like start by talking about like keeping the scene optimized. And I'll be like going back and forth between this topic, but I don't want to Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V the objects because it will add just more vertices. What I want to do is press Alt-D. So I know this object is a duplicate right now, and I know it by going into object data properties and seeing the number of times this object was like duplicated over. Now, if I just Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V, then I won't do, obviously I won't see it's like its own object right? So it's not duplicate. So whenever I can, I want to duplicate the same model over and over again. And then if I want to edit it, because if I edit a duplicate, it will affect the original mesh. Then I will just go over here into object data and click this to make this mesh its own unit, right? So now I can edit this one and it doesn't affect the other ones. So I will rarely just Ctrl-C objects. I will most often than not press Alt-D. And then if I have like a group of objects, I will create collection instances. And I will get to collection instances in a second. Let's focus on this task. So I'm adding a bunch of walls, a bunch of canal walls. So let's move them back. Let's just grab them and repeat them. And then somewhere over here, there should be one canal wall. And I'm constantly using snap to cursor. There should be maybe a wall over here. There should be a ladder. I'm really trying to make sense out of this environment. Like it will make my life so much easier. And then there is a bridge over here. And then there's this factory. There will be like a smaller object next to it, and there will be like a bunch of chimneys. And then other stuff as well. So now I'm like trying to think how I want to connect this area to like the entrance to the factory to the bridge. So what I will do is just like create this this long strip of like a sidewalk, or maybe so I've done already like a bunch of assets and I placed them around, and I have like some views already. So I have a bunch of this stuff already figured out, right? So I just want to show you the process I went through, or I'm like going through right now with the images. So I'm starting to think that maybe it will be a bridge and we will be able to go underneath it, right? But I don't know if I'll make this frame. I'm just like trying to, again, make sense out of it, right? And then there is this wall of canals that are going around it. So now that I have like a bunch of my objects placed, I will go into camera. Now about figuring out about the framing. So about the framing, let's grab my camera. More often than not, I will go into viewport display, object camera properties, viewport display, and then toggle pass part out on, because it helps me to focus more on what's in the frame. And then for the shots, I think I will want to go wide. So let's go with this value, and then I will start like moving my camera around. So when it comes to focal length, I used to stick with the rule of, hey, if I'm showing the environments, I want to use like 24mm lenses, and if I want to show two characters interacting between each other, so there's one character and there's a second one, I would go with like slightly longer lenses to close the distance between the characters, right? So like so, and then we'll just like increase it or increase it even more. But nowadays, the way I'm like thinking about it or approaching it is, I don't need the tablet for now. The way I'm approaching it nowadays is I will just find focal length that will help me frame what I want to show. Meaning, if I want to show the canals, the canal walls, I want them to be super high in the frame, right? I don't want to go with 24 and there's like so much real estate left. So I'm thinking about like going with lenses that will like maybe with 40. So yeah, and then I'll grab my dudette and place him somewhere over there. So now I'm starting to think how I can move or rotate the walls to open my composition a bit more. So maybe this is going at the angle. Maybe some of the walls are just straight. So it might mean that it might affect my bridge, but no worries, maybe my bridge will be like connected like so. Right? So I have this set up, let's move those ones, and maybe there's like another piece of wall that leads us towards the frame. Like so, and then for the factory, all right, I feel like it should be obviously on a higher ground, right? Camera, let's move it closer to the ground. So again, I want to make this shot more about the canal walls. So I'm thinking about my horizon line, the stuff is standing on the ground. All right, let's rotate our camera in a way where our horizon line will appeal higher, so it's over there, right? So yeah, I would say that's the layout. I will start with start working on the scene and pushing it, and then again there is like this element over there, so maybe I will place an object in here because I don't want to show the ladder yet, but it's a bit off standing here in the center, so I guess I'll just keep moving my pieces around. But for the layout, again, let's not fake the scale. Like if this building will be this big, if the character is this big, then I will like try to find a model, create a model, or use a texture to create, for example, doors that will be like appropriately sized, or the windows will have like appropriate size too in comparison to the character, right? All right.